Have you struggled to win in your low stakes poker games? Majority of people who play unfortunately lose, but you don't have to. In this poker session, I'm going to show you how to dominate the next poker table you sit at. First hand of the night, I'm going to get dealt Ace King offsuit, that hand that everybody hates, right? But me, I don't have any problems with it. Sometimes you just have to embrace and love Ace King, right? We're going to be in small blind with it. It is going to fold all the way around to us in the blinds. And I'm going to be finding an open here. I make it $15 to go. My opponent thinks about it for a couple of seconds. And they're going to be putting in a call. So it looks like we're going to have some blind versus blind action for the first hand of the night. One of my favorite spots, of course, to play in. We're going to be going heads up to a flop of Ace King 5, 2 hearts. Looking pretty good here. No complaints. I flop top 2 pair here with Ace King. I am going to have the best hand here majority of the time. I am only going to be behind to a set of 5s. So not much to worry about. So with having such a strong hand, I'm going to start firing some chips in the pot. Think about my sizing. Going to just start off with a small wager this time. I make it $10 to go. My opponent thinks about it for a couple of seconds. And they're going to be putting in the call. So we're going to go to the turn and it's going to come to 9 of diamonds. That card is not a scary card at all. I am still going to have the best hand here majority of the time. Backdoor diamonds did start to come in. So there are now 2 flush draws on board. Perfectly fine with me. The next thing to focus on is what size am I going to be using here on the turn. Compared to the flop sizing, I'm going to be betting a lot bigger here. No more small bets for me. We're sizing it up and it's going to be a massive one. Yes, we're going to be putting out that famous over bet. I grab my chips and I make it $75 to go. That is going to be a 1.5x over bet, ladies and gentlemen. I am very confident in my hand, as you can tell. My opponent doesn't call as quickly as they did on the flop, but after about 10 to 15 seconds, they do finally elect to put in a call. So we're going to be going to the river and it's going to come to 9 of spades. Now, at first, this may seem like a scary card, but what we should be doing in this situation is thinking and considering how much 9x does my opponent have at this point. And when you really dig deep here and think in your mind, they don't really have that much 9x. If they're going to have it, it's going to have to be some sort of 2-pair combo. But I even start to eliminate 2-pair combos because my opponent did take an extremely long time to call on the turn. If he had 2-pair, it would not have taken him 15 seconds to finally put in a call. In live poker, people just don't take that long to make a decision with that strong of a hold-in. So yes, I am feeling extremely good about my hand right now, ladies and gentlemen. I just have to think and consider what is the best size to go with here on the river. I do want to make sure I get called, but I also want to make sure I get the maximum. And I'm thinking, and yes, it's going to be another massive bet, which means we're going for another over bet, ladies and gentlemen. I grab my chips and I fire out $250 here on the river. And this time my opponent goes into the tank of all tanks. 30 seconds goes by, a minute goes by. I'm like, damn. But yeah, I do understand this is a pretty tough spot, right? We get to the minute and a half and finally we hit the 2-minute point and my opponent angrily just puts in the call and I let them know I have Ace King for top 2 pair, and they angrily muck their cards at the dealer. They start talking to themselves underneath their breath. But hey, I'm not complaining. Really love the way how I played this hand. Really do feel I got the maximum there. Would you have done anything in this hand different though? Would you have sized different on the flop, turn, or river? Or maybe you'd have threw in a check somewhere. Let me know, as usual, in the comments below. What a beautiful way to start off this low stakes poker session at the Borgata. Second hand of the night, we're going to get dealt King Jack suited, the heart variety, in big blind position. Guess it's kinda sorta a big blind special. I'll take it. It's going to fold all the way around the cutoff. They're going to be finding an open here. They make it $20 to go. Just fold all the way around to me in big blind. And I could just put in a call here. But imagine putting in a 3-bet and just taking it down pre. King Jack suited is a really strong hand to put in some 3-bets here. And also, it has great post-flop capabilities. This time around, I am going to go with the more aggressive action. We're going to be going for the 3-bet, and it's going to be a pretty big one. I 3-bet, and I bump it up all the way to $85. My opponent thinks about it for a couple of seconds, and they're going to be putting in a call. So we're going to be going heads up to a flop of Ace 5-7 Rainbow. Not the best flop for King Jack suited, but the Ace of Hearts is there on board. I do have some backdoor equity to the nut flush and a nut straight if a queen and a 10 rolls off on the turn and river. And my opponent is going to have some hands in their range that they're just going to have to let go. So this time around, I am going to be still putting in a C-bet here. I know I 3-bet big pre, but for this flop bet, I'm not going to go that big this time. Do grab my chips. I make it $55 to go. After about 5 seconds, my opponent does lay down their cards. That's a beautiful sign there. Love the fact I took down a 3-bet pot there when I didn't even have a made hand yet. I guess the king is loving me tonight. We're going to get dealt our third big hand, and it's going to be king queen offsuit. Yeah, no, not the biggest hand, but hey, has some playability, right? And we're going to be in small blind position. It's going to fold to my opponent and cut off. Once again, they're going to be putting in that open for $20, and that is a 4x open. Button is going to be putting in the call. And yeah, I decide to go the aggressive route again. I'm going to be putting in that 3-bet here. I'm going to be bumping it up all the way to $105. Big blind's going to fold. I'm hoping to just take it down here pre, but I don't get my wish. Cutoff is going to call, and then button, of course, with getting such good odds. I guess they have a decent hand. They're going to be putting in the call as well. So it looks like we're going to be going 3 ways to a flop of king queen 10 2 clubs. Now, this is a pretty damn good spot to have here, right? I put in a 3-bet squeeze and just get blessed with such a beautiful flop. I have top 2 pair again. However, in this spot, it is a little bit different compared to that first hand blind versus blind. I am not going to have the best hand here. Majority of the times I am, yes, but one of my opponents can have ace jack offsuit, ace jack suited, or even jack 9 suited. Maybe even randomly jack 9 offsuit. I mean, come on now. We are playing 2-5, right? You just never know what people are capable of nowadays. There is a little bit over $300 in the pot. I am still going to be going for the C-bet here. Think about my sizing, and I'm just going to make it $100 to go. My opponent in cutoff puts in the call. And as soon as they call the opponent on the button, an older gentleman announces they're going to be all in for $466. And I am completely surprised that they're going all in. I am a bit worried, but I have top 2 pair. Maybe they're on a draw. Maybe they already have it. If they do, hopefully I can hit a king or queen to boat up. But I do have to keep in mind my opponent in cutoff is playing 200 big blinds effective. So they do have $1,000 in their stack. Do I really want to go to the turn 3 ways? Nope, I don't. So for the first time, we're going to have an Aunt Jemima moment. I am all in over the top. And as soon as I announce that, cutoff folds. Ask the older gentleman, hey, do you want to run it twice? Up to you. They go like this and say 1 time. So I'm like, all right, whatever. We can run it 1 time. So we're going to go to the turn. It's going to come a rubber ducky 2 of hearts. And then the river is going to come a 6 of diamonds. Pretty damn good run out if you had to ask me. Flush draw from the flop didn't hit. No random 4-card straight came in. Maybe I win this hand. And the old man confidently turns over ace king offsuit. And I'm like, what? Why does he have ace king offsuit? And I immediately turn over the king queen. I don't know, yo, I got 2 pair. And they get upset, you know, push their chips in the middle. They do end up leaving the table. But hey, I mean, this is one of the reasons why people are upset at ace king, right? They had top pair, they had top kicker, but why did they just only call ace king there on the button? That's going to be the mistake there. Keep in mind, if my opponent did put in that 3-bet versus cutoff, I would have never code 4-bet king queen offsuit in small blind. Just not going to happen. So yeah, they made a mistake, and hopefully you can learn from this person's mistake. But I'm not going to complain. I just won over a buy-in in that hand. So yes, things are really going well here at the Borgata. Just a mediocre hand this time. I get dealt queen 8 suited in low jack position. I'm going to find the open here. I'm making $15 to go. Hijack folds, cutoff calls, and I guess that just strings everybody else along because button, small blind, and big blind are all going to be putting in the call. People really don't like folding at 2-5, right? So we're going to be going 5 ways. Yes, 5 ways to a flop of 8-5-3, 2 diamonds. I do have spades in my hand, so I don't have any backdoor equity to any flushes at all. I have top pair, 3rd best kicker. I do like my hand here. Small blind checks, big blind checks. I am out of position here to cut off and button. I'm still going to be putting in a bet here. I think about my sizing, and I make it a pretty decent one. Grab my chips and make it $55 to go. And before I go on, I just want to say I do not like this bet. No. I do not like this bet at all. Can I bet here sometimes? Yes, but in this particular spot, I would have loved to just see myself check, see where people are at in the hand. I do have top pair, but it's not the best top pair, if you get what I'm saying. So I wish I did proceed with more caution. But hey, there's $55 out there. Let's see if we manage to scoop it. Cutoff folds. Button folds. We're almost there. Small blind, however, is going to put in a call. And big blind is going to fold. So that kind of sucks. I was one person away from just scooping a pot. But hey, at least we thinned out the field. So we're going to be going heads up to the turn. And it's going to come to 7 of spades. 7 of spades is kind of okay. Only because it's not the 7 of diamonds. But a lot of straights here are going to complete. They could randomly have 9-6 suited. 6-4 suited. So I do have to be a little bit careful here, which I should have been a little bit careful on the flop, but oh well, can't always play perfect, right? Small blind's gonna check, and with that being such a scary turn, even though it's not a diamond, I am gonna check back. Let's see a river dealer. We go to it and it comes to 10 of clubs. So now I don't have top pair anymore, but at least diamonds missed. Unfortunately, it seems that's not going to make a difference with my opponent because they're still going to grab chips and they're going to be putting out a bet of $150. Honestly, I don't even think about it that long. A couple of seconds goes by and I'm just going to lay it down. Just not the best hand to call with here. It's okay. Got to show some discipline. Let's move on to the next hand. Another suited holding here. I get dealt Jack 10 suited in hijack. Going to fold to my opponent in low jack. And you know how people in 2-5 love to limp. So that's what they're going to do. They put in a call for $5. I'm not having that. I'm not going to limp as well. We're going to be putting in that ISO here. I'm going to be bumping it up all the way to $25. Going into my direct left and cutoff is going to be putting in the call. It folds all the way back to the original limper. And even with getting such a good price, they decide to mark their cards. So I guess we're just going to be heads up. And we're going to be going to a flop of King Jack 5, 2 diamonds. Not the best flop for my holding here. We have second pair, crappy kicker, not much going on, no hearts out there. And also my opponent is short stacked. Really don't want to start putting money in here with such a weak holding. And I'm also out of position. I'm going to start out with a check. And luckily, they're going to be checking back. So we're going to go to the turn and it comes the Jack of spades. We jack them. Trips on the turn is now odds are going to be the best hand, right? Weak kicker. But now it's time to start putting money in this pot. Thinking about my size in here. There's a flush draw on board. And my opponent only has roughly about $100 behind. So I make it $50 to go. And within 1 or 2 seconds, they go all in for $100. I mean, I couldn't call quick enough. They don't turn over their hand. We go to the river and it comes the 10 of clubs. Now I just boated up. I'm feeling pretty good. And my opponent turns over Queen 6 offsuit. Yes, Queen 6 offsuit. You cannot make this stuff up. I cannot believe that they had this hand. They were sitting extremely short. It looked like it was their first or second time at the table, so I can understand the mistake here. But yeah, if you're ever on their end, don't ever just go all in with Queen 6 offsuit. I mean, they had zero equity. It's literally insane. But hey, I'm not going to complain about the free money. We made a mistake with Queen 8 last hand, but we do redeem ourselves here with the Jack 10 suited. Next hand for the night, I'm going to get dealt Ace 4 suited in hijack. It's going to fold to me, and I'm going to find a 3x open here. I make it $15 to go. Cut off folds, but button calls, and then the chain starts again. So small blind and big blind are going to be joining the party as well. So there's going to be 4 of us, and we're going to be headed to a flop of King 10-5 Rainbow. Not the best flop, but it's okay. 1 heart on board. And I do have some backdoor equity, 2 straights. Queen and Jack would give me that 4 card straight. 3 and a deuce would give me that beautiful wheel. And small blind's going to check. Big blind's going to check. This time around, I'm not going to make the mistake of c-betting here again. I'm going to check. And button is going to be checking back as well. So we get to see a free turn. And we go to it. And it's going to come to 8 of hearts. Pretty sexy card. We are now drawing to the nuts here. If we can find a heart on the river. Small blind is going to be leading out here. They make it $15 to go. Big blind is going to put in a call. And of course, I'm not going anywhere. I put in a call and button's jumping in as well. So we are still going to be 4-handed going to the river. And it's going to come a rubber ducky, 2 of hearts. Let's get it. We just rivered the stone cold nuts. Doesn't get any better than this, ladies and gentlemen. When you have the best hand possible with 3 other people in the pot. Come on now. I'm just hoping and praying that somebody starts to put money in this. Small blind, fortunately, is going to check. Big blind's going to put out a bet, though, yes, of $50. It is my turn to act. And you already know we are going to be bumping this up here. Just have to think about the sizing. And yes, another massive sizing time, right? I'm going to be bumping it up to 5x all the way to $250. Yes, I know it's big. That's the whole point of me going to 250. Both my opponents are going to fold. The person who put out $50, though, they are thinking about it. And after a couple of seconds, they finally put in the call. I let them know, yo, I got the flush, and it's a big one. And they do muck their cards, of course. They did let me know they had a baby flush. Can't fault them for calling there. I'm just more happy about my sizing and managing to get 5x my opponent's bet there. Let's hope this run good and playing well doesn't let up for this session. I get dealt Queen 10 suited, the diamond variety, in small blind position. Folds to my opponent in hijack. They're going to be putting in the limp. Cut off folds. Button limps. And yeah, I could limp as well and just see a flop if big blind doesn't bump it up. But hey, there are some times in 2-5, I could just take it down right here, right now. So I am going to be putting in an ISO again, and I'm going to be bumping it up all the way to $35. Big blind folds. Hijack, the original limper, is going to be putting in the call. And button is going to be laying it down. So we're going to be going heads up to a flop of Ace 9-5, 2 diamonds. Pretty good flop for me once again. I am drawing to the second nuts here with the queen high flush. And once again, I do have some backdoor equity to straights as well. Sometimes here, I can just c-bet and take it down. Or maybe they call and we can hit a flush. Both scenarios are completely fine with me. I am going to be putting in the c-bet here. Since I did make that ISO pre. I know I'm out of position, but I like this board a lot. I am just going to be making it a small bet though. I just bet $20. After a couple of seconds, my opponent puts in a call. So we're going to go to the turn, and it comes my lady, the queen of clubs. Pretty good here. Gives me some more equity. Now we have second best pair, weak kicker, and the second nut flush draw. I do feel the need to pump the brakes here. Don't really want to be firing another bet this time. So I am going to check. And after a couple of seconds, my opponent checks back. Love to see it. Let's go to the river. And it's going to come to 2 of diamonds. Let's get it. I mean, I'm hitting a lot of flushes today. What can I say? I'm thinking about my size in here on the river. There is a little bit over 100 in the pot. I do take my chips. I just make it $100 to go on the river. After a couple of seconds, they put in a call. And to the table's surprise, once again, I turn over a flush. Villain is going to muck their cards. So I don't win as big of a pot with the nut flush. But hey, no complaints here. We are really dominating this 2-5 game tonight. Finally, some pocket pair action. I'm going to get dealt red 10s in cutoff position. Hijack's going to find a limp. My holding is too strong, of course. I'm going to be putting it at ISO, and I'm going to be bumping it up to $25. It's going to fold all the way back around to them, and they're going to be putting in the call. And for some context, this is the same individual I just won a lot from with the ace-high flush. So we're going to go heads up to a flop of 9-4-3 rainbow. Pretty damn good board for pocket 10s. No Broadway cards out there. I haven't overpaired to the board. I'm going to assume majority of times I do have the best hand. Hopefully my opponent doesn't randomly have a set of 9s, 4s, or 3s. That would really suck. They do check. I'm going to put out a bet here. It's going to be a pretty big one. I make it $50 to go. In about 1 second, they're going to be putting in the call. We go to the turn and it comes the 9 of spades. Still a rainbow board. But now that top card did just pair. Really scary. I could be losing to some 9x here. My opponent is going to check. I want to pot control now, so I'm going to be checking my option. And we're going to go to the river, and it comes the 8 of hearts. 8 of hearts, really not that scary of a card. Doesn't change much. My opponent checks, and I'm thinking about, should I be putting a bet here? After some deliberation, I am really worried about that 9. So because of those reasons, I am going to just check back my pocket 10s. And villain is going to be turning over 4-3 offsuit. So they did have me out flop there. The card I was afraid of helps me on the turn. Because that board paired, I now have a better 2 pair than my opponent. The main thing to really keep in mind about this hand, though, is that they limped 4-3 off. I ISO'd, and they still put in a call for $20 more with this hand. So at this point, I know my opponent is playing a lot of cards. Let's hope we can get into some more hands with them in the future. Next hand of the night, I'm going to get dealt Jack 10 suited again. And I'm going to be in hijack position. Low Jack, to my surprise, puts in a limp again. I'm going to be ISO in here, of course. I'm going to be bumping it up all the way to $25. Folds the villain on button. They're going to be putting in the call. And the original limper is going to be coming along as well. So we're going to be going 3 ways to a flop of 5-3 deuce, 2 clubs. Pretty good start to a hand once again. I am drawing to the jack high flush. That is going to be the 4th nuts if a club can roll off on the turn or the river. Low jack's going to check. I'm going to check as well. Don't really want to be putting in a bet here. And button is going to be checking back. So it looks like we get a free turn. We're going to go to it, and it's going to come my lady, the queen of diamonds. She doesn't help me out this time, though. Looks like it may have helped out my opponent in low jack. They're going to be firing out a bet here. They make it $25 to go. And not going to be going anywhere yet, drawing to the 4th nuts. So, hey, I'm going to be putting it in the call. And button is going to be laying it down. It is pretty nice. That button is going to be folding because now I am going to be in position when we're going to the river. And it's going to come the 4 of clubs. We do river the jack high flush. I mean, it's kind of insane the amount of flushes I have hit today. I'm also going to say a big thanks to the tables being short stacked here at Borgata right now. Because it is pretty late at night, like 2, 3 a.m. I am getting to see more hands, more flops, etc. And I'm just hoping my opponent fires out a bet here. Please bet, please bet. And they are going to do just that. They make it $50 to go. And they are sitting with roughly $250 to $300 more. And it is a pretty sick spot. I am going to be putting in a raise here. I am, of course, hoping they don't randomly have a better flush. That would suck. But keep in mind, they did limp pre. So that's really super important in this spot. And I'm thinking about my size in here. And yes, we're going to be going for is going to be another Orange Mammoth moment. I am all in on the river here with the Jack High flush. And we fade the snap. They do go into the tank for a little bit. But after 15 seconds, they do lay down their cards. When they did fold, they did turn up one card face up. And it's going to be the Queen of Clubs. So obviously they didn't have a Queen High flush. If they did, good Lord. I mean, that would be crazy, right? Imagine a world where I get somebody to fold a better hand, and if they just called, I would have won. I really just felt they just had a pair of queens, and they still, for some reason, was putting bets out there on the river. But hey, what do you ladies and gentlemen think? Did they really fold the Queen High flush, or did they just have a pair of queens? Let me know your thoughts about the hand, as usual, in the comments below. Next hand, we're going to be in big blind. I'm going to get dealt King 10 suited, the diamond variety. And it's a 2-5 game. So we're seeing a lot of limps again. I love it though. Hijack limps, cutoff follows, button limps, small blind throws in another $3. And I'm sitting here with King 10 suited. I could ISO it up here, take it down. There is a lot of dead money in there. But with me being last to act here and having a decent hold in, I decide to just chill this time. I do check my option. Let's see a flop dealer. There's going to be 5 of us, and the flop's going to come Ace Jack 4, 2 diamonds. I mean, I just keep flopping these flush draws or turning flush draws. But hey, they're letting me see flops for cheap. What can I say? Small blind's going to check. I'm going to check. Hijack checks. Cutoff's going to put out a pretty big bet here. They make it $35 to go. And $35 is an over bet. On the flop, 5-handed, pretty sick. It is very hard to continue here in this spot when somebody's betting this big. And they get their wish. Button folds, small blind folds. I'm drawing to the King High flush, of course. So I'm going to be putting in the call. And Hijack's going to be laying it down. So the field has thinned out. It's just the 2 of us. And we're going to go to the turn, and it's going to come to 9 of spades. Not the best turn here. Would have loved if I just completed my hand. I could have hit a lady for a straight, which would be the nut straight. Or I could have hit a diamond for the nuts since the ace of diamonds is there on the flop. So yeah, no made hand yet for me. I'm going to put in a check. And music to my ears when I hear that cutoff is going to be checking back because I get to see a free river. Let's go to it. And it's going to come to 5 of diamonds. Oh my goodness. It just keeps continuing here. Now I have to think about my sizing. There is a good amount in the pot with my opponent putting in that overbet on the flop. We are at 100 or so. So I'm thinking. And yes, I am not going to be putting out a bet. No, not this time. I am going to be checking. And at this point in my mind, I am saying, bet, please bet. And I do get my wish. They do put out a wager of $50. We are sitting extremely deep here, over 300 big blinds effective. So I am thinking about the best size to use here. We're going to be going for that check raise, aka that check rizzle. And yes, it's going to be a massive one. I decide to grab my chips and throw out $400. Yes, that's 8x their raise. And they go into the tank. 10 seconds goes by. 30 seconds goes by. I see them at the corner of my eye. And I know that they're just annoyed at this spot. Because I've just been making flushes all day, right? It's kind of annoying. Well, not annoying to me, of course. After a minute has gone by, they finally put in the call. And I let them know, yo, I got the nuts and turn over my cards. And they end up turning over Queen 9 of diamonds for the second nuts. Pretty insane here. They did consider folding, but hey, is there a world you can fold the second nuts? Is there? Come on now. So I do scoop a massive pot, pretty much a buy-in here at 2.5. Oh baby, what a beautiful session it's been. Finally, another pocket pair, and it's gonna be the Rockets pocket aces. Let's hope we can somehow just make a lot of money this hand. I am in small blind, so going to be a decent amount of opponents ahead of me to act. Low jack limps though, and I'm like, come on now, what is going on? Hijack limps, cut off limps. I'm shaking my head. Well, not in real time, of course, but that's what I'm thinking in my mind. Button does decide to ISO, but they only bump it up to $12. Like, what is this raise? What is the $12 raise after 3 people just limped 5? You cannot make this up, and I have aces. I mean, I guess every hand has really gone well for me today, so it's okay. The pot isn't building. Life goes on. I'm gonna have to do the building myself here, so I'm gonna be firing out a 3-bet. Think about my sizing. I make it $60 to go. Person to my left just sat down at the table literally 2 minutes ago, and I see them grabbing more chips than $60. I'm like, what is going on? You put it in that cold 4-bet and they make it 120. I wish I saw a bigger size, but hey, I'm not complaining here. It does fold all the way back around to me. I do see that they started this hand with about $580. So I'm thinking about, should I call? Should I go all in? And after deliberating, then put it in the cold 4-bet. I'm just gonna go for it. So y'all know what time it is. It's an Andre Mamma moment. I am all in with aces. They snap call my 5-bet jam, and they're gonna turn over pocket nines. Pocket nines. I mean, hey, this is low stakes poker, right? It's 2-5. You're gonna see stuff like this happen. And I'm thinking to myself, man, it really just is my night, right? We go to the flop, and it's gonna come ace 9-7 rainbow. I mean, the 9 scared me, I'm not gonna lie. Because the cards kind of peeled back, and then you saw the 9 first, but then the ace was underneath it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this is pretty good, right? We go to the turn, and it comes the 6 of spades. We go to the river, and oh my fucking goodness, it comes the 9 of clubs. And I wish I was able to record at the Borgata, but it isn't allowed, because you would have saw the reaction from me as I jumped out of my seat, and everybody at the table was like, oh, it was pretty amazing, I must say. I thought I was about to just scoop another buy-in, and then I just get foolered by somebody getting in pocket nines after being here for 2 minutes. And not only that, they hit quads. They hit the 1-outer. I mean, this is stuff you only see in online poker, right? But hey, everywhere is poker. And not only that, they win the high hand for the night, taking in an extra $100. And it's funny because they were upset that the high hand was only $100. And his friend that was at the table let him know, like, yo, you just won almost $600 in a hand. Like, why are you upset? It was really funny, really beautiful to watch it. This is the first time I have lost a 1-out in live poker in cash game. But hey, can I really complain? Everything was going my way this entire night. I still love pocket aces, but hey, sometimes they get cracked, right? Let's get to the results. And if you want to avoid common mistakes in your poker sessions, watch this hour masterclass that has vlogging footage since it's not in the Jersey area. And final results for this session, I'm gonna win a massive $1,705.